Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you're having an amazing day. I want to begin this video by discussing CES 2021, which will be hosted by AMD, or at least one of their keynotes will be. It will be taking place virtually on the 12th of January. AMD are not exactly revealing what will be shown off during the keynote, other than it will be for all of the usual fields: research, education, work, entertainment, gaming, and showing off high-performance computing and graphics solutions. So let's do a bit of speculation here. A very obvious candidate that I won't talk about too long is the RX 6700 XT and 6700, based on Navi 22. We've discussed this a lot recently. Supposedly up to 40 compute units, and is basically going to just destroy the RX 5700 and 5700 XT, which it is essentially replacing in the product stack. There's not a huge amount more to say about that, other than it's going to be awesome for people wanting to spend $300 to $400 on a graphics card, and should compete very well with the RTX 3060 Ti. Another possible would be AMD's super sampling technology, basically their version of DLSS. So this seems to be utilizing the lower precision operations of the GPU to upsample, and I think much like Nvidia's solution, it's using the 4 or 8-bit operations. That's what Nvidia's tensor cores are basically doing for DLSS, and uses previous frames of animation as well as inference, which is basically trained code already, to run your game at a lower resolution and then upsample it to a higher resolution. It's worth noting that, technically speaking, it's mostly running trained code already and then using the previous frame of animation along with other data to figure out how to upsample to the next frame. So this is not machine learning, perhaps, as some would call it, but this will be used on the consoles as well, of course, as the desktop GPUs. At least that's what AMD themselves have said. It'll be cool. I think that this technology is sorely needed for the RX 6000 series, so I'm very much looking forward to that. I also suspect that Cezanne, or the next generation of APUs from the company, is also very likely to be shown off. We'll discuss Cezanne more in just a moment because there is a leaked benchmark. But what else? Well, Threadripper. We've heard very little about the next generation. AMD a couple of times have kind of murmured when asked or poked about it that they are not giving up on Threadripper, but obviously at the moment it's based on Zen 2, so we can easily see an update to Zen 3 with much higher levels of performance, and we can presume it will stick to 64 cores, 128 threads. And I would also be kind of surprised if we didn't see some whispers of what will follow for AMD. What I mean by that, of course, is the transition to DDR5. It's very difficult to imagine that an APU based on DDR5 and RDNA 2 with a decent CPU could not render lower discrete GPUs basically useless. It'll be very hard to justify throwing one of these cards in with, throwing in a card such as like a 1660 Super or 1650 whatever, or the AMD equivalent, when both Intel and AMD will be offering their graphics solutions with DDR5, and they're going to be reasonably competent. They're going to be pretty decent. There are some reasons maybe you might want to throw in a lower end discrete GPU if you are like a PC gamer, but in general probably not, I suspect, and that's a good thing. It will mean some interesting things for AIBs in terms of volume sales, but that's outside the scope of this video to analyze. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what this could possibly mean. Moving on though to another story involving AMD and Cezanne. This has been spotted, by Tim Abisek, and yeah, we actually have a Geekbench result of an engineering sample Cezanne APU. Cezanne is an interesting one. It's, in this particular case, an 8-core 16-thread processor, and it's 3.2 gigahertz for the base frequency, so that's 300 megahertz faster than the Ryzen Cezanne 4800H. And yeah, it's basically seemingly confirmed now to be Zen 3 based, as Family 25 is Zen 3 from what we understand. There's not a huge amount to say about this. The processor should be damn cool when it finally launches. I think that it should make AMD even more of a force in the mobile space. I think that the adoption of AMD APUs has been a little slower perhaps than what I suspected, although it is starting to get better. I will be curious to see how this evolves over the next couple of years. Obviously, Intel are not just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, although you might be a bit, surprised to hear that. Yeah, I'm not super excited about Cezanne from a personal standpoint because I'm not like I'm not really someone who really gets super excited about mobile solutions. That's me personally. Like, great if I'm traveling and that type of thing, but generally I prefer desktop. But I am also looking at this, that I'm not the only one, obviously, in the world that uses computers, and I know a ton of people prefer laptops or need laptops. So any device which has a lower power requirement, or rather has better battery life, that's a better way of putting it, while offering greater levels of performance, is obviously a win. This is just a quickie though on the RTX 3060 Ti and demand. So product demand this year has been, well, let's just say interesting. But I think Newegg's statement of the demand for the 3060 Ti is very telling. They said that the traffic to the site was near 6 figures and their inventory quote was nowhere near that. They are going to do their best, of course, to ban people using automated tools and improve their shopping experience, blah blah blah. But to me anyway, what the interesting thing here is that in the UK and most regions, the RTX 3060 Ti sold out really fast. To my knowledge, the numbers available for the 3060 Ti were really good. They were better than the 3070 and, well, perhaps even the greatest availability to any recent modern card that launched. So better than all of AMD's cards in terms of per SKU, and also the 3070s, 80 and 90. But even so, they sold out really fast. And I think this surprised everyone, including Nvidia. Like, I thought they would sell out, but even I thought they would last a little bit longer than what they did. And there are a lot of, things you can say about this, like how many of them got sold to bots and all this stuff. But, the fact of the matter is, like, let's just be blunt and say that 100,000 people, let's just take, very conservative figures and say 100,000 people, even if you say that a large number of that traffic was bots, let's just assume, even if you want to be ultra pessimistic and say 50% of it was bot traffic, which I don't believe, but let's just say it was 50%, that is still nuts. Like, the demand for GPUs and tech at the moment is just absolutely just crazy. Yeah. I don't really have much to say about this, as in I can't really be insightful, but I think it's just super telling that an RTX 3060 Ti just got absolutely obliterated in stock. And this, I can't think of a time where it's been so crazy. And when I was reviewing the card, I did say that I thought they were going to be damn popular because it's a 60 series, and 60 series generally are. And also looking at the raw performance metrics, it outperforms like an RTX 2080 Super, and isn't that far behind an RTX 3070. But even so, damn, just absolutely crazy. Hopefully people who wanted to get one did grab one, and hopefully the restock won't be super bad. But while there are tons of other things happening in the world right now, I do want to touch on one last story, and it is the PlayStation 5. Yes, we have yet more PS5 news. And this one is an interesting one. So there is a website by a Chinese blogger. They're apparently well respected, although I don't really know their work. But it's also appeared on the website entrepreneur.com, so I'll link that article in the video description as well. And anyway, TLDR is that, according to this individual, there is a new PlayStation 5 incoming, and it is called the PS5 Lite, and it will not launch until the second half of 2021. Now, there is a ton of speculation around this already, as always, but I don't think it's a PlayStation 5, console that you plug into your TV or that type of thing, which has like lower amounts of GPU performance or CPU performance. In other words, it's not like the Xbox Series X and S. It's not that type of thing. So my personal opinion is it's more likely that this is a cost-reduced version of the PlayStation 5. So, for example, it could have a smaller case, a more elegant cooling solution, maybe on a different manufacturing process for the APU. I don't know. Like, there's a ton of different options, but ultimately what I'm saying is that I don't think it's like an Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X because of, well, it just wouldn't work for how Sony have crafted the console. It would mean the developers who weren't briefed on this, they would have to do updates. Yeah, it would be a nightmare. It just wouldn't happen. So it's very unlikely that this is the case. There have been a ton of rumours that Sony are considering a new portable console. And I think that there is quite a bit of evidence that Microsoft and Sony, Microsoft in particular, have been considering a portable system, which is something maybe I'll discuss in a separate video. But just the name here, PS5 Lite, it doesn't really sound to me like that's a portable system. It sounds to me like it's a cost-reduced version of a system. It would be super duper fast for it to come out, although you can argue that it would fix possible issues with the PlayStation 5. Like, personally, I don't have an issue with the size of the system. It doesn't bother me, like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox. I'm okay with them. I'm okay with both of them. Then again, I'm an odd person, and I liked the original Xbox design, so I even like the PlayStation 2 design, the original one. So perhaps I'm not the best person to judge the aesthetics of the system, but I think they're fine. It's a little big, but whatever. Although there are issues with the PlayStation 5's cooling of memory. And Games Nexus did a good thing on the teardown of the PlayStation 5 and did some testing of the memory modules, the temperatures. And they are a little warm, to my mind. The SOC temperatures were fine, which was ironically the thing that most people were concerned was going to overheat, and it's not. And the memory is still running within the GDDR6 specification, but it is a little warmer than perhaps would be ideal. So it wouldn't take an inordinate amount of work. It wouldn't take, to design a new rocket ship kind of thing to improve the cooling on the memory. Do I think this store is real? Who the hell knows, honestly. There's so much bloody conflicting information concerning Sony's plans for the future as well as Xbox's plans that it's very difficult to know whether this is true or not. Personally, I think that there is almost certainly a slimline or a light or whatever you want to call it PlayStation incoming, because Sony have done it every single generation. We've seen it with the PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4. I just kind of feel like the second half of next year would be kind of early, but maybe they're making some other changes to the system for all we know. It's kind of difficult. Oh, and one actually tiny last little story. There was rumours that Halo Infinite would be receiving a Battle Royale mode, and that has been nipped in the bud by the developers, and have said that no, this is not the case, that Halo Infinite is not getting a Battle Royale mode, which honestly, I'm all for. Yeah, maybe it's just me, but Battle Royales really do not appeal to me. With all of that said though, thank you very much for watching the video. The normal stuff, like, share, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.